Welcome back to AFTV. We've got some breaking news. Gabriel Jesus, who we know had a small procedure after the Barcelona game in pre-season, that's the last we saw him in an Arsenal shirt, is back training with Arsenal. He was spotted training with the group. And we knew that this wasn't a long-term injury, but we've now found out that he is potentially back in time. Maybe Fulham will be too soon, but the Manchester United game is potentially in sight. So we knew it wasn't anything majorly serious, but you think knee injury, you know that is somewhat related to the long-term injury that kept him out for 4 to 5 months before. So you start to worry. We were told it's a small procedure. Let's see. It's a matter of weeks. Looks like that's come true.
I mean, you got to big up the the medical team at Arsenal, because they do their job very, very well. And I'll say it from last time when he had the major knee surgery, it kind of went under the radar how quick he was going to be back. He actually came back a lot faster than most people anticipated. And this one, like you said, is a small one, but it's good to hear that he's back in training with the lads today. Which I'll be honest, it did actually surprise me. I didn't think he'll be back this soon. I thought it'd be round the United time. I said about last week 3 weeks, I reckon, till he's back. So to me, it's still sooner. So I got to big up the medical team there. And it's funny, like you mentioned, Fulham may be too soon, but he did make his return last season against Fulham. So it's quite a coincidence, that one. So like I got to mention, I got to big up the medical team there, but hopefully he is back and back to his best, because it takes a lot of time for mentally to get back in to full fitness when it comes to knee injuries. I know it is a small minor.
They were describing it as like a clean-up. They were sort of saying like, look, yes, it's technically an op of some kind, but it is just going in, quick little clean-up, very small, not very invasive, from what I understand. I'm obviously no medical expert. So I think the theory was, once it was kind of done, he should be able to come back quite quickly. But also the hope is a lot of recovery is about match fitness, and he has been playing football within this last month. So if we can get him back on the pitch here at the Emirates, okay, Fulham, it does feel too soon. I'd be amazed if within sort of 2 days of his return, he's back on the pitch. But Manchester United is another 9-10 days away.
Yeah, let me back that up with when I spoke to Zinchenko for the game for Ukraine. He said he's back with the training with the team again, and even still, it still took a week or a week and a half till we actually saw him. Well, he hasn't started. He's featured, but he hasn't started. So that's to give people context there. He said that 2 weeks before he even just came off the bench. So Jesus, I still think Fulham's too soon. I even think United, I think he might feature. I think to start, one, because of how Eddie's playing as well.
I don't think he's starting.
Yeah, I don't think he's starting either. So I feel like he may feature, but I don't see him even starting for Man United. As much as fans may want to see him and say if he's ready, he should play, I feel like Eddie will still be #1 choice when it comes to United. So I still think Fulham's too soon. I think United might be too soon as well. But it's good news he's back.
It is good news. You mentioned the Fulham game last season, which was his return, and actually it's a good.
You was with me. Oh, you was with me.
Spot. Yeah, it was a good day. I mean, the fans were loving his return. I think what was crucial was that he got some minutes in before the international break and the 2 weeks off, and I kind of wonder whether Arteta will see a similar thing here, where it's like, listen, we're not going to rely or depend on you. That wouldn't be fair with the injury you just recently picked up. However, if we can get him on the pitch, get him playing some Premier League football of some kind, even if it is, I think he got 20 to 25 minutes against Fulham in that game. If he can get that, and then you go into the international break, I imagine he's not going to be, going with Brazil. I mean, mate, listen, maybe, I don't know.
Well,
you do then think, okay, cool. So when we come back post international break, I forget what that game is. You're thinking, okay, he should be up and running again. Yeah,
I agree. I think that's what it's going to be. I think, like I said, it takes a bit of time mentally for a player to get back to their full best. And like we mentioned, Fulham's too soon. But listen, we've seen the videos today, him jogging with the team and back in training. Whether it's full training, maybe he gets put to the sides when it comes to the ball work, I don't know yet. All I know is I saw them all jogging together. And obviously the news right now breaking is he's back with the squad. So there is positive signs, but I think Arsenal are going to manage it very well. I still think we have a lot of cover there as well up front. I mean,
we do. We got numbers.
Yeah, we got numbers. I know some fans might say it's not Jesus, but for me, I think Arsenal have been very good at managing things, especially when it comes to injuries in the past couple months.
You kind of mentioned the options that we've got up top. One of them isn't following Balogun. Yes, he's still a registered Arsenal player. Yes, he is still there at the club. But he was one of a group of players that did not train with the first team squad. Here's a report: Kieran Tierney, Lokonga, Tavares, Balogun and Rob Holding did not train with the rest of the Arsenal squad. Nicolas Pepe and Cedric were not in training with the main, all separated group today. Is this Arsenal getting ruthless?
Yeah, it does feel like it. It does seem like it. It's clear that the club want to try sell these players, make some money for them, considering, you know, I hear they want to go back in the market to add to this squad, especially with the Ewan Timber injury as well.
You hear? Is that an exclusive?
No, don't do it. I'm no ITK. I'm no ITK. So I've heard that. So I feel like, you know, they're going to try and move on these players. So it makes sense that they're training separately from the squad.
But that's quite... I understand that there'll be certain sessions that are prepped for a certain amount of players and they need to manage that. And ultimately, if you're surplus to requirements, Arteta's got to quite ruthlessly say, listen, this is all I need to run the session I need. So, you know, we're not going to change what we're going to do to accommodate for these 5, 6, 7 extra players that we can't get out the door. But I do think it's fascinatingly ruthless of Arsenal.
But is there anything new, James? If you really look at the players that are in that batch, we didn't see them really. We didn't really see them in pre-season. We didn't really see them at the start of this season in the squad or anything. So those players there, to me, training separately, I don't find it too extraordinary out of the blue.
I think it is, and not because it's not the right thing. I think it's right that Arteta says, listen, this is now the group that I want to take forward and you lot aren't part of it. Correct. But to almost say, you know, you're coming all the way to London Colney, thanks very much, but you know, you guys go over there. You're not a part of this. It is quite cutting, and I think it's a good thing. I think it's the ruthlessness we need. But when you look at those players, Kieran Tierney, you know, a player that Arteta has really liked and appreciated over the years, not maybe in terms of what he could do for this team, but in terms of his attitude and what he gives to the club and his mentality. Lokonga was his signing. Nuno Tavares was his signing. Balogun, a young player who's a lot of value there. It doesn't help us on negotiation purposes that Balogun is training away from the squad. That doesn't help us in terms of trying to get what we want in terms of the transfer fee. You know, I think it's quite brutal.
This is top level football, James. I'll be completely real because, like, I get it.
Have you ever had it?
Yeah, I've had worse. You're training with the youth, you're training with the academy, like about the Aubameyang thing. For me, if that was the case,
we've had meetings in the office without you. You know, I get it. You know.
And you know
sometimes
what?
you've got to be ruthless.
There's truth.
It's not a part of this.
There's probably truth in that. But I've experienced it throughout my whole life. Training with the academy when you've been dropped. I think this is a bit different. At least they're training together as a group, which again I think they understand as well that they're not part of Arteta's plans and Arsenal's plans going forward. So at least they're together. I'm glad they're doing it separately and not taking photos like PSG when they had the players that they were when they were put away from the main squad. Yeah. They're all taking photos as
the reject.
The reject.
You're thinking how fun do those training sessions look?
Exactly. So I'm glad our team aren't doing that and they just understand, you know, okay, we're going forward. We know we're not going to be part of it, but this is Arsenal's. You know, this is Arteta's Arsenal now, and that's what we want to see as fans. Ruthlessness. As much as some of those players I would like to see stay, like the Kieran Tierney at Arsenal, but Arteta knows best.
Yeah, and I think it's going to accelerate transfers. Of course, we'll be keeping you up to date with all of it here on AFTV. Transfer deadline day special next Friday. We will be live throughout the day. We'll be taking breaking news videos, everything, whatever comes through, we'll be keeping you covered on it. And of course, we're outside the Emirates because this is Arsenal's next game. Fulham at home, previews, Predict 11, all that coming out shortly. And don't forget to check out a very special Invincibles from the Torrington pub. See you in a bit.